Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Palma Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and today we are joined by John Valence from JV Connectivity. You are the owner and founder, and you are a cell technology provider, correct?
Yeah, so what we'll do is, so the company started about 2.5 years ago. What we'll do is we'll supply the necessary SIM cards that are going to go in your Petway routers or cellular routers on board your vessel. So we'll provide those SIM cards, giving you the best experience, while you're traveling from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean to North America, etc. And the data that we use on networks, especially here in the US, it's the best data that you can possibly buy. For the most part, it's not available to the general public. So it just gives our clients the best possible experience, as they are traveling from region.
Well, I have a question for you. I find it very interesting that there has not been a single yacht show that I have been to where the ability to do interviews or to upload interviews, download interviews, any of that sort of thing, for some reason, the cell phone technology at most of these yacht shows is virtually non-existent. Why is that?
Sure. So a lot of it comes down to the network capacity in that specific location, right? Just because all of the networks, they have to be provided with the backhaul and the spectrum to be able to serve all of those subscribers in that area. And in most cases, it's almost like if you were to go to a football game or any type of sporting event where you have so many people in a very condensed area, and that is it is really taxing the network. So what happens is you can improve your chances of that video going through as a best practice by going back to 3G. Normally, the 3G networks are not as congested as the 4G networks. And your chances of getting a successful video call or even text to go through could be much greater by reverting to an older technology. In addition to that, it's always important to understand that when you are in a roaming environment, so you have a SIM card, say from Orange or from another carrier, and you're roaming on a different provider's network, they will deprioritize that roaming traffic under their own subscribers' traffic. So that's why it's always very important to use, a SIM card that's covered by the native network and that's serving your location.
So is there any possibility of getting a SIM card that is capable of being prioritized straight around the face of the planet? Or in today's day and age, you just literally have to have a different SIM card for each area?
It's tough. We've been working on developing a SIM that would not roam as clients travel from region to region. But currently, as everything stands, it is best to, swap out SIM cards based off of which region you're traveling to. That gives our clients the best possible experience, and it ensures that they're getting the fastest possible data that they can have. So it's in development, but it's not there yet.
Okay. So the 3G networks, they still exist then. They haven't disappeared as a result of 4G and 5G coming in.
Absolutely. Every operator has to layer their networks, right? So, while most clients or customers are using the 4G networks, it's very important that they also have a failover solution, such as 3G, just in case something were to happen to the 4G network. So most providers still operate, 2G, 3G, and 4G networks. And they all have different use cases. 2G is used a lot for narrowband IoT, for devices that don't require very fast data, but just small bits of data going through for IoT devices as well.
So if, for example, I was at a yacht show and I was getting no reception and decided that I would drop down, could I drop down myself to 3G, or would I have to contact my provider?
Absolutely. No, you can just go into the settings of your device, and there's going to be a network setting there, which would allow you to choose which network, which generation network you want to attach to. And I remember this very vividly going to, sporting events here in Florida. Those 4G networks were always it was hard to get a call through at times, or even a text, just because they were so overloaded. And by going to 3G, it's not something everyone would think about, but it's a good best practice to make sure that you can stay connected on a less congested network compared to what everyone else is automatically on.
See, and I guess that's funny because most people would assume that by going to a higher network that you would get better chance of connectivity. But as you said, if everybody's on, say, 4G, if you drop down to the lower network, you're going to have a whole lot more space and traffic for you to do your business.
Exactly. Think of it as a highway. You can be in, rush hour on a 5-lane highway, and there's just so many cars on that highway, and you can always also, you can choose to take a different highway, maybe that's less congested. So, no, it works. It works. And I would highly encourage anyone to try that, during the next show.
Yeah, well, I'm going to actually, just because now this is a trick that I never knew existed, and I'm definitely going to try that because when you do what I do, there is a necessity to be able, and to my contributors as well around the world, there's a necessity to be able to upload quite fast, and most often they have to leave the premises and find another place down the road, and this way that will stop that from having to happen. So thank you for the tip. That's why we reach out to the experts.
Anytime, but just don't forget, it's always, the operators are always going to prioritize their own services, right? So if it is possible, pick up a prepaid SIM or, local operator SIM in that region, and that will also give you the best chance of getting faster connectivity as well.
So do you work quite closely with satellite providers? When it comes to yachts, there is a necessity to have both yourself and your satellite technology combined in order to make sure that you have the most coverage straight across the face of the planet. How do you work with satellite providers?
So the way that we look at this is satellite is a necessity for our specific use case. Our services help complement connectivity with satellite. So they work together in a very good way, right? So essentially, when vessels are coastline and they can pick up a cell signal, more often than not, it's going to be a faster signal. And it's also going to be significantly less expensive than satellite with much faster response times. So what we notice is when vessels are coastline, they're going to go ahead and use cellular, excuse me. And then obviously when you're outside of cellular range, they're going to flip on the VSAT services so they can stay connected. So for instance, when they're traveling across the Atlantic or going to areas where there's no cellular service available. So the two technologies really do work together. The most important thing that we've noticed is making sure that the two providers that you're getting your services from are flexible enough to where, they can operate together. And in some cases, you only may need cellular for, a portion of time, and they can then turn off those VSAT services to help reduce total connectivity costs as well. So.
Well, tell me about 5G. Now, in some countries around the world, there seems to be quite controversial things going on in regards to 5G. Is it just a better way of communication? It's just the same as going from 3G to 4G. Now we're going from 4G to 5G, just to increase speed and bandwidth.
Yeah, so 5G, it's a phenomenal technology. The speeds that have been reported are out of this world. Very, very, very fast. And with everyone going to, take a 4K movie, for example. We're at 4K now we have TVs that are coming out 8K. The bandwidth requirements are just going higher and higher, every year. So as we're all using more data, it's really important that we stay connected with the fastest technologies, and 5G is going to give us, the performance that we need for the future. In addition to that, the response times are significantly better than 4G. So, as you're browsing the internet and getting work done online, as you move through the internet, it's just going to be almost instantaneous for your content to appear. So, it's a great technology. We're super excited for it. As you know, the operators have been very hard on building out these 5G networks, for the past, year or two, and planning for these networks. But it's going to be a game changer for us. It really would be. And different regions approach it differently. I know here in the U.S., the operators are using different spectrum for 5G. So it's going to help our use case. It's not just going to be for for large cities and towns, but within our maritime segment, operators which have a low band 5G network complemented with a mid and high band 5G network, it's going to give us much faster data performance as well as much faster response time. So we're looking forward to this. We've been ready for this for a while. And we're excited. We can't wait to see what the future brings within 5G and how it's going to change our industry.
Now, for those that say that 5G is harmful to humans, what would you say?
That's a tough subject. Based off of what I've read and my understanding, there's no factual or conclusive evidence that would prove that. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, but wireless operators and all of these technologies, they have to go through conclusive testing in order for them to be deployed. And I just don't see how that would be allowed if in fact that it was harmful to humans or animals or anything of that sort. But again, there's conspiracy theories out there, so we have to look at that and be smart about the information that we read and perceive, and obviously we want to make sure that we're kept safe, right? So with that being said, I don't see that happening. I don't see that it would be harmful to anyone. And there's no scientific research that I've read that would provide that to be conclusive.
So going into the future, as far as yachts and what you do for them, do you travel around the world and provide these services?
So we have services, obviously here in North America, the Caribbean, Bahamas, as well as the Mediterranean, and we also have global services as well. So no matter where our clients are going, more than likely we have them covered. And we've gone through extra steps to make sure that we can provide the most native network SIMs to give our clients the best possible performance, when they're traveling. So in a lot of cases, vessels will use one roaming SIM to use all over the world, which that's an easy solution, right? But it's not going to help you when it comes down to performance. Just from what I stated earlier, whenever you're using a roaming SIM, your connectivity is going to be severely impaired. With the way that our model is set up, we will equip them with the best possible SIMs based off of where they're going. So yeah, we pretty much have coverage everywhere.
So for example, if somebody was in a yacht in Monaco and needed cell services, they could contact your company and you could provide them with those services.
That's absolutely correct. So yeah, we will give our clients a whole portfolio of SIMs, and based off of where they're going, we will activate the best SIMs for them, in that location. And we'll stay in touch with them. We'll provide all the support that's needed to ensure they have the best possible connection, and we'll make it easy for them. Sometimes it's very hard to get support, and especially from an operating perspective. We have high-level agreements with the operators to where we have expedited support and response times, and we collaborate them to best serve our clients. So it's been working out very well for us.
Well, I mean, just for example, if a yacht spent the med season in, say, for example, Monaco, France, Spain, and then decided that they were going to go to the Caribbean and then over to Fort Lauderdale, how many SIMs would they need for that coverage area?
They would need two SIMs, two to three SIMs. But again, each vessel is so different, in a lot of different areas, such we'll take the Caribbean as an example. There's two major operators in the Caribbean, and not one operator is going to be good everywhere, right? It's important to understand that. So while clients can get by with a small number of SIMs, it's our preference that they activate at least 2 operators at the same time, depending on where they're going. So as they're traveling and they hit a weak spot for operator A, then they can latch on to operator B, or they can use them both concurrently to give them the best possible.
That's interesting. I've actually learned a lot of great things today. I'm still kind of stuck on that 3G. I'm going to be remembering that, even when there have been times, and especially during the lockdown, where everybody is either on their cell phone or they're using Wi-Fi, whatever.
Sure.
The idea that you could just dial back, that's a game changer.
Well, I'm happy to help.
Well, now the problem is, though, is that now we've done this interview and everybody in the yachting industry is now going to have that trick. And the next boat show I go to, I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be doing the same thing. So it won't work as well as if I kept that to myself. So lesson learned.
That's all right.
Well, John, yes. Well, John, thank you so much for your time and for clearing up quite a few things for us today. We'll provide your information, your website underneath this interview when we air it, so that if people need your services or have any more questions to ask you, that they will be able to reach you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Once again, you have been watching another edition of Palma Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host, and this has been John Valence from JV Connectivity. We'll see you the next time.